year of the mINiTERN program here at Hunt, which is super cool. We have been active every semester, even through COVID. And we have also, in the past few years, really worked with Jason and his team at Dallas College to expand the program to other companies in the Metroplex. And so not only are the students that you see here getting the benefit of working with a company, but also other students in Dallas College are also getting the same benefit. We run about, I would say, what, 20 students a semester-ish?
Yeah, we could do, so we usually up to 30. So it kind of depends if we, like this team is 4. So 4 to 6 is usually the number of students per team. And then you just extrapolate that out over 5 teams. So, yeah.
So we, as typical, want to thank our SMEs. This project's a little bit special. I think it's fun. Everybody at Hunt knows all the different adventures that we take here and all the new businesses that spin out of Hunt. And so we decided to give them a project that was, pretend like you're starting a new business. What do we want the culture to look like? And so that is what they have done. And with that, don't forget there are nothing but cakes in the back. Please eat as many as you want. We mixed it up this time to celebrate our 10th year. And I'll let you guys take the reins.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Elizabeth has mentioned, we are the mINiTERN program for the spring 2025 semester. And as she mentioned as well, we were tasked with creating a company that we have named Helix Energy. And here we're going to give you an office guide-by-guide playbook on how the company will be running and what things we want to incorporate into it. All right, so first let me introduce myself. My name is Angela Velez. I'm currently a senior at Early College High School, and I plan to transfer in the fall to University of Texas at Austin to major in civil leadership. And during this part of our presentation, I was focused on the student survey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Abigail Lopez. I'm majoring in civil engineering. I plan to transfer to UTA in the fall, and I focus mostly on interviews and data.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Nava, and I'm majoring in electrical engineering. My focus area was also interview and data, and we also conducted some research for this as well.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Ozas Atseria, and my major is computer engineering, and I'm going to transfer to UTD in the next fall. And my research area is on interview data and employee benefit.
That's our team, and let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our projects. We were given a couple of deliverables, those being one of them, creating a culture playbook, basically kind of what we would implement to a company for a more new generation, people coming out of college with fresh new ideas. What type of culture would they like? What type of leadership are they looking for? What type of ideas interest them? And why should they choose our company? With this, we were also tasked to collect data to back that research up. We were asked to focus on the employee engagement and the deliverables. And by this, we surveyed around 135 students from all over Dallas College, including some of you guys, actually, some employees that actually took our quiz and answered so that we could get more data for older generations and the foundation that they have placed. We were also asked to do interviews.
So we were also tasked along with the student surveys as well as people who are already in the workplace. So while we didn't get that many interviews from actual people, we were able to get like 2 or 3, and we were also able to get our data from articles that are online that also surveyed. And while we weren't specifically told to focus on Gen Z, because the Gen Z is the newer generations and they are going to be the next CEOs, we wanted to focus on them because they are the future of the companies.
And then we will explain to you at the end, sort of an implementation plan on how we would like to incorporate this. All right, and now I look into key values.
So here are a few key areas we wanted to focus for Helix Energy's corporate culture. We're beginning with our company overview. This is our mission statement, and we wanted to go over leadership and development, benefits and wellness. And we wanted to close off with some real world practical recommendations. And we built this data based off of our survey data and research, real world research.
All right. So to start off, Helix Energy. Our mission statement, whenever we were looking into creating a company, we realized that the company starts with the employees. It starts with the people that are there from the beginning and create the company from the ground up. We wanted to talk about how our mission statement is to create energy solutions that empower communities, honor people, and protect the planet. We're focused on sustainability as well as real world impact. We're here to push forward not just energy and tech, but our hearts. Our slogan for this would be to not only empower the people, but empower their homes. Right. Here's a little bit of a quiz. What do you believe Gen Z values the most? Work-life balance, job security, recognition, or flexibility? Any thoughts? Okay, all right.
D.
Hey.
A. I'm a Gen. Oh, yeah, we're Gen Z.
Gen Z yourself?
Yeah,
What do you believe?
I think work-life balance.
All right. Well, some key insights from our survey. Work-life balance is key for Gen Z. But we asked the people in the survey, from 1 being least important to 5 being most important, what work-life balance came out. And from 86 out of the 137 responses, coming out to 63%, rated work-life balance as number 5, most important. Now, we also asked a question comparing 2 different companies. One of these companies had a high salary and limited work-life balance with no clear path for promotion, while another company had a lower salary with a strong work-life balance and with a clear career growth. 80.4% people chose company A, which a lot of people think is the obvious answer, but 17%, close to 18, chose company B, showing that even though it creates a lower salary, work-life balance is important to more Gen Z than it is for that older generation. You see, this graph right here is more from the employees at Hunt. And you guys with like a higher salary with limited work-life balance with a no clear path of promotion.
So this side is the folks at Hunt.
And this is from the Gen Z survey. So there's a little bit of insight for you guys. And yeah.
Exactly what I thought it would be.
Job security and ethical leadership. For Gen Z, they matter more than perks. So by this we mean from 1 to being least important, 5 being most important again. We looked at ethical leadership and transparency. This is from everybody in general. We have seen that ethical leadership and transparency, they chose 5, but the most outstanding is the job security and stability, reaching the max responses that we have seen throughout the whole survey as most important. Now, a quote from Jason Dorsey.
Gen Z has an extraordinary appreciation for fairness. So as we see on the graphs on the far right, people voted job security and stability as most important, and also ethical leadership and transparency. this shows that Gen Z wants stability. Yeah, they appreciate having leaders that are honest and trust their team to do the work, and also the security of knowing that they have their job, and also compensation and benefits. Of the other three, they're more like about collaboration and team support. So your community, who's around you, and social responsibility. Even though these do matter, they don't matter as much as security, benefits, and honest leadership.
Let's go on to the next slide. Recognition is a must, but not just public awards. By this, we mean we asked a question looking in workplace engagement and recognition, being what forms of employee recognition do you value most? You guys said that monetary rewards like bonuses and raises. Of course, everybody would like a bonus and a raise. Of course, for all companies, especially starting out companies, this isn't the most ideal type of way for engagement, but we recommend this for more of the long-term thing. When you realize that your employees are the standing foundation of your company, you have to realize that keeping them motivated and keeping them at your company is what's going to keep you separated from all the other people and keeping that talent to your company. We want to set yourself apart from others. Now, they also liked career advancement opportunities. You see, this was interesting because when we were doing research on articles over what they wanted, career advancement opportunities was not even anywhere to be seen. We had no data on that. And the fact that people are looking for more promotion, they are looking for more work is incredibly interesting. I mean, me personally, I would see this as an opportunity to create more challenges, more opportunities, more ways to advance. And I feel like as a company, we should take that into consideration. And the other ones were public recognition awards, of course, shout outs and stuff like that. Private recognition, one-on-one acknowledgement. Everybody loves that one-on-one connection that you have with your boss and that one-on-one talk. Now, let's go on and to our next slide.
What did you mean, sorry, extra time off or flexible work arrangements as a recognition? That means you would grant extra days off as a recognition? Is that what that means?
So yeah, so that means most of the companies which are on their market, they are offering few days off as a bonus actually. So, and we thought that it would be a good idea to provide it as option on the screen. That's why.
This is more common in like European countries where they have longer times of PTO and give actually as rewards even longer or vacation time.
I think it was on Germany, I guess. I think there was an article. I think we hasn't done any reference actually. But yeah, so we provided that option actually, and yeah, but we didn't get much response.
That's pretty high. Yeah.
Right. Next slide. For remote and hybrid flexibility is essential. You see, this was incredibly interesting because this is a huge controversial thing that I guess a lot of people have been arguing. Do you want to be in the office? Do you not want to be in the office? Do you want hybrid? You see, what we found from this is that 70 respondents listed remote/hybrid options as an essential benefit. Now, 70 respondents isn't a lot, but let's look at what's it comparing to. It's comparing to competitive salary, which everybody wants, health benefits, which is the basics of what a job really should have, and paid time off as well, the basics of a job should have. Now, right after the basics, it's immediately remote hybrid work options. People are looking for remote options as well as at-home options. They want both. And by that, we recommend to you having that option for both of those. Next question. All right, this is the purpose and social impacts and how they're big decision makers.
So Gen Z, because this is the majority of our participants, They value purpose and social impact when making like their job, employee decisions, or deciding which job they want to work for. And as we see from the pie chart, like the red and blue regions, 63.8 said that they would prefer to work at a company with strong commitment to sustainability and social good. But many of like the red portion, those people say they don't want it to impact their salary or benefits. And in that quote, Gen Z is determined to make a meaningful impact in their careers. Organizations that align their values and missions with Gen Z's purpose will attract and retain talent. So Gen Z not only wants to work for a company that has a strong commitment to sustainability and has a social impact, they also want the salary and benefits. This basically says that they want the feeling of making an impact, but also the perks that come with it.
Yeah, especially nowadays with more modern culture and how companies are being viewed and how we want to work for a company that does good.
Are you able to find Gen Z? Like, what is the age range approximately?
Of course, I think we're gonna go into that in a bit.
Yeah, well, we define it as like 1990 to 2010.
People that are coming new into the workforce, they might have a little bit of that experience, but they're mostly just educated people that want to work.
Thank you.
Right? So for feedback expectations, they are high and ongoing. We want more feedback by regular one-on-one meetings. We were saying that people are more interested on having that one-on-one relationship and that one-on-one like feedback, like, hey, more personal, not having your whole team here, maybe have more deeper connections that way. Now, written feedback and emails place third, closely enough to second, which is a real-time constructive feedback, which was interesting because emails is almost a not real-time constructive feedback. It's almost the opposite. So by this, we kind of saw a difference in personalities. This comes to a more like, hey, I want you to tell me in my face, what's up, what did I do? And the written back emails is more like formal. Hey, this was very interesting. I would like more on this. So I believe this is more due to a personality thing, but we definitely would like to do more research on this.
What is this? Did you say that this was the survey from everyone or mostly well,
This one is Hunt only.
okay.
Actually, no, sorry, apologies. This one's both. Yeah.
This was from the whole population, which the majority was Gen Z. Okay.
Yeah.
So we collected the data of 153 people actually, and almost like 70% of the people were from undergraduate student. That means 70% of them were Gen Zs.
Okay, the next slide, we will look into mental health support and how it is non-negotiable. In this survey, we looked at the questions and we asked for mental health programs. They were ranked essential by over 38%. We were looking at benefits. We added competitive salary, health benefits, paid time off, remote hybrid. And then after remote hybrid, our next was looking at mental health support and how it's non-negotiable. From hybrid workplaces, we understand that you can be at home and you can be supported, but you can also be in a culture where your office space is also being supported. This requests included therapy coverage, wellness apps, leaders, modeling for a healthy balance, and mental health days.
So when it says company funded social events, is that social causes or is it just social events? The one that's what?
Raised by like causes.
Well, define company funded social events, I guess.
So, wellness retreats, like going out with your
Oh,
coworkers.
like office parties type.
Yeah.
Okay, no, okay. Okay,
Sorry,
I was,
that was probably
I was
badly
thinking
worded.
that was like, I thought y'all were saying that was social causes, so, okay, no.
That was probably badly worded on our part, but.
No,
yeah, that's what we-
no, I just read it wrong.
The remote hybrid work options, do you have a breakdown of that of Gen Z versus office versus?
Gen Z versus office for remote and hybrid. If you go back to that remote hybrid. No, okay, so for this one, it's just the whole, but we could definitely, if you would like for us to
The
get that
whole
back.
population, but the. Okay,
Yeah, this is from the whole survey.
Will you guys share the survey data with us? I think it would be really interesting for us to be able to, and the way that they did it is in a, like, it'll export into Excel, so we can kind of pick and choose
Yeah.
like the people.
It's a hot button issue across America,
Oh, yeah.
here and everywhere. So it's good to see multiple points of data.
All right, so now, our core values for Hunt, after that said, our company and actions, they're guided by a set of a couple of, I guess, rules that we have instated. And these are the values that we would like to follow and set the foundation for the innovation that we're gonna start. First, starting by respect, humility, community, and teamwork. These 4 values will come together and create sort of a foundation for not only us employees, but the higher ups to have respect for one another, humility for one another, know that is a community, and work together. By collaborating, we create discipline to innovate, to achieve. By creating a community, we can develop situations that positively impact the community and help one another at the same time. For humility, we can serve communities, focusing on the fact that it is for the good. For respect, we can honor diversity and bring more ideas. Okay, for now leadership, we looked over a couple of our questions for the survey. We're over leadership. We can start at the first question. You are working on a team where one member is constantly underperforming and affecting the outcomes. What do you do? Here, we found that 41.7% will talk directly to the teammate and offer help. This was interesting because usually what you're taught to do is kind of go to your leader and kind of ask them for help. So this was really interesting to see how the culture and mostly you guys' company has come to talk to one another first. And for number 9, your manager gives you a project with tight deadlines and limited guidance. How would you prefer to handle that situation? 44.4% said request a one-on-one meeting to clarify expectations. They would rather have a leader who understands that that person would rather have a personal place to be not criticized, but told on how they can improve and how they can better themselves, not only for the company, but for themselves. They want direct communication. Next slide.
Wait, can you go back?
Of course.
On like, on the last blue bullet point on question number 10, what does that say? I would talk to them directly to see if
Which I'm doing, I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. It got cut off. I believe it said, and see if a different solution is available, I think.
I think we need to check the data actually.
What?
So I think we need to check the survey again. Evidence.
But I mean, if I was looking at that, and looking at the top one, you're saying
Yes.
talk to the teammate to offer help
that's what I was
versus talk
wondering.
to
what
them
the
directly to see. Maybe one's offer help, one's more confrontational.
Maybe.
All right, so You notice a pattern of unethical behavior in the workplace, but it's not being addressed. How would you respond? 37.7% said reported through office channels like HR, which obviously is the most common thing to do. But 37.1% said speak privately with your manager. And the next is discuss it with coworkers to gather their perspectives. Now, as we can see, the orange very much contradicts with the blue and would get some people in trouble. So, because this was also Gen Z and people don't really know a lot about company culture and I guess what's going on, we thought that the question, responses like that and answers like that would more, I guess, resonate with them. Which kind of shows here that it did resonate with them. And they did find that to be an answer that they believe to be true.
I think that's something really interesting that when we're teaching new employees at a workplace to teach them the right approach on that, because
Especially when you believe things are obvious, like, for example, this. Sometimes a little more.
Define unethical behavior too, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the severity of one to the other. It's a good question to ask, but the gambit that you're saying in that statement is huge. You know what I mean? So I think that's right. I mean, of what I've seen of talking to people, I think it depends on your relationship with your manager, depends on the relationship in your team and the top. So
In,
Two either path.
in your survey, I guess like initially in the beginning, did you have a question to see whether that Gen Z student was employed or not?
Yes.
Okay, because it would be cool to see, like, if we broke this one down, question 11, and saw like the ones employed versus the ones not employed and how that affects their
You see,
answer.
we also wanted to add something like this to the data, but when you try to put like 4 graphs in a slide,
You're totally fine.
it gets a little messy. So we decided to go for more like general approach, but definitely for a more focused look, we could definitely change up data, add more data, make this into a bigger graph, expand it and stuff like that, which is also why we shared the survey with you guys as well. All right, so let's keep on going. This right here will be the last part of our leadership. There's a company reputation and leadership. Rate the leadership qualities that matter the most to you, 1 being the least important and 5 being the most important. Here we found that accountability and transparency are 2 of the highest noted personalities types that they would like to see in the leader, which of course, transparency, you always want to see a leader who will fully show you who they are, the mistakes that they have made and how they can overcome those. Now, accountability, somebody who knows when they've made a mistake. Nobody likes to know someone who's made a mistake and not take action towards that. Seeing this in the leader is one of the highest things that they want to see. Of course, strong decision-making and ethical responsibility was right there next to it. Right?
So now we're gonna talk about office environment. So as I had mentioned earlier, I was more focused on doing interviews with people who are already in the workplace. And I also interviewed, for example, the CEO of Thread Logics. And so he's also a startup and he was telling me that his company's small, it has about 12 people, and how since they're like a coding company, they really valued working at home. And so it's kind of interesting to see because within each company that you do, obviously some things you can't do at home, but for them they could. And I liked how he said that even though they were at home, they always prioritize, meeting up together, because he also mentioned he really missed the one-on-one, like the hallway conversation. So it's hard to compare a online company versus an in-person because they all have their benefits and their disadvantages. So I would say that for office environment, on our research, also on the survey, Gen Z values more in person, but I have also seen contradicting because I also know that a lot, like it's like 50-50. So like 50% of Gen Z value in person and the other half value hybrid, like in person or 100% online. So in order to do that, our analysis told us that, it's kind of hard to differentiate between those two. But yeah. So here I got a graph from a JH University, and here you can see the employee engagement between generations. So as you can see, it hasn't really changed much. So employee engagement throughout baby boomers to Gen Z has been pretty much the same. I don't know if you guys can agree. So what I saw when I saw it was that not much has changed actually in the work environment. Like, let's say there might be now in a survey of 100 people, you might be like, okay, there's more towards online or more towards in person, but the work environment has been kind of the same. So that called me to ask the question, like, companies are not doing much different. Like, what can they do to cause a change in the engagement of their employees instead of keeping it the same?
How should we interpret engage, disengage? Is it, and this would say that only a third of our workforce is actually doing stuff.
No, I think it's like give a crapper. Like,
Punch of the clock is
like,
blue.
I think it's
Maybe it's if you come in, you're just doing your thing, you're not really thinking about how this is impacting, you're just doing your function. You're doing what's expected, but nothing more, nothing less, and going.
Yeah.
How would you define that as engaged or disengaged?
I'm just curious how the data set, how they
That's what
define
I'm
it.
wondering how that is.
Here, there's also more data that we could have included. I just didn't want to fill up, but yeah, it just basically means that for engage, it means you want to do more than what you're doing. Not engage means you're not really doing the work, and actively disengage means that, you're not really looking for the future of the company, more you're just working to get the basic salary.
One other question that I had is this a snapshot for each of these generations at that point in time, or did you try to level set it based on age? So like a Gen Z at the beginning of their career, is that compared to a Gen X at the beginning of their career, or is that a Gen X today?
You couldn't get a Gen Z in their 60s.
Right. No, I know.
So
So are you normalizing it to, the early part of your career? So it's
we probably have to look at the source.
It doesn't, the takeaway is it doesn't really change.
Hey, that's like a very deep question that we would have to look more into, but I totally understand where you're coming from and how that definitely applies.
I think to your point, the point is that,
The standard deviation is so small, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
that it's kind of wild that.
well, but I would say like if you had actively disengaged baby boomers, they may be looking at retirement, right? So
Yeah.
they're disengaged because they're looking at
Well,
retirement, or Gen X, they're middle of raising kids. What did they look like when they were 20 or 25?
They're like 28-year-olds across the board from every generation at the same time, at the same point.
I would say that also takes into consideration their culture and how the culture of the company also shaped how they were living throughout like their life.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and go to work-life balance.
So for work-life balance, these are the top 5 that we found were called the attention of Gen Z. Because like we said, we focus more on Gen Z because they are the future rather than other generations. Of course, we take that in consideration, and we do find the similarities in these as well. So the generational differences do have an impact in the work life because, if we say baby boomers are more like loyalists, they're more traditional, they prefer like handwritten cards, more family oriented, versus Gen Z, they're more like online text messages and stuff like that. So for work-life balance, I guess you could say for Gen Z, they would like to have their time off, work home, work here. And then for baby boomers, it's more like all in person. So for employee engagement and time management, I feel like they go together. And in Gen Z, they would value a company that shares values with them rather than not. So that prioritize, like gender norms and time management and things like that we have surveyed.
Yeah, so Gen Z values flexibility, mostly among everything else.
Okay. Here we can see what's kind of present. So it kind of relates back to the first graph. So right now there's a lot of millennials working right now. Gen Z is the growing population, and then Gen X is also a grand majority. So when we take in consideration the Gen Z, we wanted to pay attention to them because, like I said, they're the new and oncoming generation, but I guess also millennials and Gen X.
The involvement. So for Helix Energy, we want to bring everyone together. Like Hunt does a lot of stuff for the community, and we wanted to do similar things to invite our employees to step into roles that challenge them in terms of sustainability and social impact. And we also wanted to collaborate with schools to help build the next generation of talent. And we also want to make sure that everyone feels seen. So we would celebrate, not necessarily celebrate, but give recognition, not just at particular milestones, but just recognize everyone's effort. And we also want our perspectives to be diverse. So we would prioritize looking for talent that has different perspectives, life experience, that have something to bring to the table or experience.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the benefit actually, and about the research findings and the recommendation for the benefit. So over here, so the thing, so while doing the research, the first thing I was asking myself was, why should the company should offer benefit to the employees, right? And what we came across was there is a survey done by the Glassdoor. Almost 60% of the job seekers says that peaks and the benefits significantly influence their decision to accept a job offer actually. And we also did a survey actually where we got like 80% response from the students saying that they will accept a job offer from a company which offers low salary and has a work-life balance and the clear career growth path actually. So this is the data drawn from the assets RM actually, and this shows that some of the benefit categories that are most important to the employees. And on the number one, there is health related benefit, and followed by the retirement plans. And the third one is leave benefit and the flexible work benefit and the family friendly benefit. Actually, so what we did over here was, so on the next slide, we're gonna compare the benefit package offered by the different companies in the industries. Slide.
Family friendly benefits. We're going to define that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So family friendly benefit is about the offering when the family gonna have like a new child, the most of the companies are offering like 18 to 24 weeks of paid holidays actually.
Maternity.
Yes.
Okay.
So on this slide, there is lots of data actually, but the reason why we collected this data was to see what are the other companies are doing actually. So on the health and wellness, most of the companies are offering a competitive health benefit actually, and on the family support, most of the companies are offering from 18 to 24 weeks of paid leave, regardless of their gender actually. Go to the next slide. And on the financial benefit, most of the companies are strongly focusing on financial benefit, such as retirement, offering retirement plans, 401k, flexible spending accounts, and pension fund actually. And on the learning and growth, actually, most of the companies are focusing on learning platforms. And most of these companies are also offering Yeah, tuition reimbursement actually. And on this slide, actually, most of the companies are offering hybrid remote work actually.
Compensation and benefits.
So for the recommendation benefits, we obviously have our basic benefits, which are health and wellness, flexibility, work-life balance, paid time off. So for health and wellness, we have our global health insurance, which basic as well, which has medical, dental, vision. Then we have our free mental health counseling app and apps. We wanted to include this for the mental health for all generations, especially considering that Gen Z is a type of generation that is definitely more focused on the mental health of their peers, of everybody around them. They have focused on the fact that it is a real issue.
And they also really value flexibility and a work-life balance. But I think when they have this, well, not I think, but when they have this option of more flexible hours, it'll help retain your employees and it'll also capture the attention of many.
Considering the data that we had before, showing that older generations wanted more in time in the office, the hybrid work, sorry, the hybrid workplace environment gives the older generations time for them to spend if they want with their kids, if they want in the office, and the younger generations to be able to compete and innovate with those, be able to be in those meetings, be able to have that insight from older generations and get that new innovation from newer generations. Combining these two with a hybrid workplace environment would be honestly the smartest thing you could do. It creates a place, a breeding ground for creating new ideas with older and new older generations. And then we have our paid time off, which is our 25-day PTO minimum or unlimited sick days, and which will obviously like you can get it. This could be something that could be overused. We have things in place for that, like obviously our leadership and our culture within the company that would stop that hopefully before it gets there. And if not, we always have ways to intervene.
Can you define company-wide recharge days?
I need one.
Yeah.
I'm asking her.
Yeah, I apologize. I completely glanced over that. But that is actually a new implement that we put it. Put it is not a word. We implemented. And basically what it is that we realize that every now and then people need a break and they don't give it to themselves. It's something that we researched whenever we were looking into the mental health that Gen Z considers as top its priority. Whenever we realized that mental health was so high up on the list, we honestly didn't think it was going to be on the list at all. We thought it was going to be lower like it had in past data that we had researched. So the fact that it was on there means that we need to pay attention to it. And because of that, we wanted to recommend the paid company-wide recharge days as one day. We chose Friday because Friday, yay, Monday, early. But it would be a day for everybody to be at home, be relaxed, do what you have to do the things that you can't do whenever you're at the company doing all this work. And it would be kind of like a random day.
Kind of like a company holiday versus.
Yeah.
Because you don't use your PTO. It's like, you're not gonna use it. I'm gonna make you take a day and recharge.
You to relax.
So,
Force me to recharge any day, Dan.
Like a founder's day off or something like that.
yeah, if you, it could be this exception, the company day, it could be a number of things, but you can come up with additional holidays to add to the list that would be mandated for people to take off. So 2 questions. How do you, in Hunt, we have a lot of people that are working on things that run 24/7 and you can't take a day off because the drilling rig or the ship or whatever is still moving. How do you equally treat people that can take time off and things that they literally have to have 24/7 coverage. How do you handle those?
Personally, I think I would take the approach of asking them what they want. Because knowing that the fact that they are working 24/7 and that sometimes the truth is that you can't take a day off. Asking them what they want, being like, hey, do you want us to give you, I wouldn't say maybe a bonus. I would say something else, something, I'm sorry?
Did y'all explore buyback opportunities? To Todd's point, in an operational environment, a lot of times you can sell back a certain amount of days of PTO because you just can't use them. So it's kind of incentivized bonuses. It's a slippery slope because of, you're talking about a startup company, so every dollar counts. So was that part of your research? Did you see?
Actually, we made, do you guys know what the RFIs are? Do you know what the RFIs are? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we had made a couple of RFIs asking about what type of implementations you guys have in your own type of PTO program. And we did see that you guys had My Days, and we definitely took that into consideration. But because one of you guys' also recommendation was to not use your own programs, we didn't want to take that.
We didn't want to base it on anything that we already do.
Yeah.
We wanted to know what they wanted.
But I mean, absolutely, this is like the foundation.
Because this is what you're presenting for your company, right?
Yeah.
This is like your suggested, yeah.
So I would say that if you get into a operational, it varies from company to company. If it's a software tech company, maybe Monday through Friday, everybody's the same. If it's an oil and gas service company, they don't stop drilling Christmas Eve, they still drill. So you got to make it adapt to that. The other one that's I guess I would say non-traditional, did you look into anything related to sabbaticals? Sabbaticals as in like something mid-career, late career, you take off for a month or 2 or 6 or whatever. There's different companies that do different things, but that was a midlife crisis, mental health / explore other technologies and whatnot thing that some companies have done. Intel did it, the guy IBM did it, but it's something that's curious if you came across anything related to sabbaticals.
We heard about I guess it was sabbaticals, and we were just thinking about like how that would work for a new startup company. I don't think that would be practical, but I mean, it does make sense.
In a startup company, first couple of years, you're not gonna have sabbaticals. So that's
I do,
fair point.
I think it's.
Yeah, we
good.
definitely, whenever we were going through like the Europe stuff and like taking, they have a very different way of looking into PTO, and they take it more as a like lifestyle, like you're working while also containing a lifestyle. They have very different sort of priorities and stuff like that. So I guess their culture also changed the way that they were looking into that. And because you're right, like oil and gas companies don't stop drilling, we would definitely have to take that into consideration next time working on this.
Yeah, it really does depend because, I know a lot of people that work in the oil industry and like this one's more for energy. So we more focused on what would work for like energy company and they're not usually out in the drills and stuff like that. So we focused on a schedule that we would think an energy company would have versus the other kinds of companies.
And then we have our family support, our financial security and learning and growth. Family support, we have our 18 weeks of our paternal leave for all parents. That includes fathers and mothers. We have fertility, adoption, and surrogacy support. Knowing, again, this is also part of kind of like the mental health part and our backup child subsidy. Would you like to talk
Yeah,
about it?
and on the financial security, so what we did was we are just trying to what we did over here was we are just trying to offer some of the common benefit over here actually what other companies are doing, like the slide we mentioned about like ahead. So on the financial security 401k or retirement plan, employee stock purchase program, student loan repayment, and on the learning and growth almost 2,500 per year education allowance, internal career development platform, mentorship program actually. So these are just the common benefit that are offered by the biggest companies that we mentioned above actually. And on the next slide,
Before you leave this one, on the employee share purchase plan, as a startup company, how do you ascribe value to the shares that people have the opportunity to purchase?
so in order to recommend this actually, we compared the data with the top companies actually, companies such as Google, Tesla, Microsoft, and from that reference, we are recommending the employee stock percentage.
Yeah,
But for a new company, we are just recommending it for like general companies.
Okay. Yeah, so for publicly traded companies, it's a great benefit and it's pretty common, but if you're not publicly traded, there's not so there's other things you can do. You can have share options or awards but anyway, just curious.
So on this slide, actually, so these are the benefits that will really make difference actually. So on the first one, actually, diversity, equity, and inclusive, we recommend to have a gender neutral parental leave and LGBTQ inclusive health plans, employee resources group support actually, and on the purpose and sustainability, we recommend to have like paid volunteer days, green commuting peaks such as EV incentives, bike subsidies, and another one is carbon offsetting for the business travels. So on the non-traditional peak, we recommend to have a home office setup allowance, paid insurance, free Spotify, and the inventory grants after 5 years for the lower. So so what we can say is from the data, while comparing the data with the top companies, most of the energy companies are offering health benefit, actually financial benefit, and the sustainable benefit to their employees. And most of the tech companies are offering learning platforms and a mental health program, and all of those companies are offering mental health based benefit to the employees and the flexibility actually. So before that one, so if we really want to attract employees, then we should have to think about the future, and the future of benefit is not about offering every single benefit. It's about offering the right benefit, such as health benefit, flexibility, growth, and workplace action.
Okay, so at the end, our recommendations to you are changed. So here are just like the most important things that were for Gen Z. But of course, the main thing is that Gen Z is characterized by what's happening around them. That's how their ideas flow. So like right now, we're a generation entering into a depression. We have a lot of political instability around us. So that makes us want a secure job, want us to have flexible opportunities, want us to have flexible benefits and good communication, mental health awareness, especially diversity, because, you know, a lot of people can say that they feel judged for certain gender norms and stuff like that. And you still see a lot of discrimination in all kinds of aspects nowadays. So I think a company that supports all the new different variations between, you know, diversity, inclusion, mental health, and equal pay is something that calls the attention from new Gen Z workers, and it will make them want a company that shares the same values as them.
And we would just like to thank all of you once again for giving us the opportunity to present to you and give us an 8-week opportunity to really grow and have this presentation.
Yes, thank you, because we've never had anything to do with like a corporate world. Like well, I'm a sophomore and I've never worked in a company, only in like very at home with my father. He's a photographer, so it's very chilling and nerve-wracking to talk in front of all of y'all, but we do thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we're very thankful for everyone and all the time y'all invested in us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What was the biggest surprise in your process going through this?
For me, it's just that there's just so many different kinds of companies and everyone runs differently. Like, for example, the oil and gas company, my boyfriend works there, and I'm able to see how exactly you said they don't have any time off. Like he spends most of his time over there, and I'm like, well, if you had the option, would you rather, you know, have time off? He's like, yeah, of course, but it's not really an option for us. You know, of course, if you want to make money and stuff like that. So it honestly depends in the work field what you're looking for. That's why it's important to call the attention from who you're looking for. Of course, like an oil field person might want to work versus a Gen Z who graduated from college and wants to have office work. So I think it was interesting to see the variety of responses from people because it varies depending in your workforce as well as your generation.
You find anything about promotions? Like, I remember many years ago when I was in your role, like, the way I got to Dallas was EDS, and EDS had a stated policy that they didn't look at seniority for promotion at all. And of course, as a young person starting out, that was very attractive to me, that I didn't have to wait 20 years or something. Any kind of criteria for promotions or advancement you guys saw?
Well, we personally didn't research exactly like the criteria for the advancement. We looked more, I guess, into like just how to get that advancement, how to continuously keep that advancement going for the company.
Or how to attract people and retain them.
Because like obviously companies everywhere changing and trying to get more people to come to their company and adding new stuff, right? But how do we keep the people that we already have? How do we get them to that level and promote them?
Don't see any differences in responses between kind of Gen Z that was immigrant versus first gen versus kind of second year? Did you guys see any data or?
The data wasn't made that way to do between like different, like you said, immigration, working and stuff like that. But I would say that, you know, for young people, like any opportunity you can get is valuable. So like, let's say if I just came out of college, I want to work immediately. So honestly, like it's kind of hard to say because even though survey data says one thing, when you're actually out of college and there's somebody you're looking to hire, it's very difficult to really pick and choose. So I guess the companies would have to, you know, pick what kind of new out of college workers they're looking for, or if they're even looking for that kind of people. And I was also talking with my teammates how like, I'm not trying to like judge any companies or stuff like that, but most of the time people look into certain, like, let's say like for this company, I don't know if you guys would rather do like someone from Harvard versus someone from Dallas College. Like, I think that the company should have the opportunity for all different kind of, you know, economic students, because not everybody can go to Harvard, or even though I heard that recently Harvard does free tuition or something like that. But like for top schools, for people who have most opportunity, I think that companies should also give opportunities to people from lower incomes who won't have the opportunity to go to, you know, the most biggest schools. So I think it should be that companies should have the opportunity for everyone.
I think to your question, just real quick.
Yeah.
If you go to that one slide that was comparing like 2 slides from here, I think. This one, I guess, was kind of like the biggest. We didn't format the survey that way in the way that it's like Gen Z, right? But I think this one was the biggest one, comparing the people to like the students, how we saw how they wanted kind of more of a high salary and they wanted kind of more of a work-life balance. Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question about the mission statement, because I want to give you kudos for this. I think this is an awesome mission statement. Did y'all write this?
Yeah.
Y'all came up with this?
It's gone through a lot of drafts actually, so this is the last and final one, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it stuck out to me. I wrote it down, like it was the first thing I wrote down. I thought this was an awesome mission statement. So good job with that.
Good job, y'all. Take a deep breath. You guys got your kudos online. So wonderful presentation. Great job. So thanks everybody online. Appreciate y'all.
Trainees 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Feel free to grab a cupcake now. You're done. Try.
Option to top it with short terms.
It was really
I was like
poor.
listening and I was like, I can't really look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
So I messaged
the
Suzanne.
trend is newer. We're no numbers, so it's like.
Yeah, just let me know, because I'll come back out.
I'll let you, I mean, if it got, got sent over there, then.
I don't.
Or not, she just said,
No,
checking in.
it's so interesting.
It was in transit.
Yeah, it's you guys.
It's so interesting. You check in. And then like,
But the-
guys that keeps it all. Well, yeah. So like, so for what they do, global is very.
Just done it.
So it's like, there's no
Yeah,
fault.
yeah, there's no- yeah.
Which is fine. It's like, yeah, right, right. Shine this
You get it,
you don't really get it.
Right, right.
Oh, go team, guys.
Okay, yep.
Thanks for having time.
Bailey's first one over there to
It was a fun one. I like that they actually were able to get.
Grant, that was fun. That was like the highlight of my.
Oh, yeah, that's like-
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're in this place, but it's a bit.
Yeah.
I think.
Did a great job. Like, we get the data.
Yeah, well, that's why I.
Yeah.
Digest that.
Like eager to get what it
Steps.
Tomorrow, the city.
is. Let me explain the other two. That may help. Because I this engaged. Oh, so I, yeah. Great job, and I don't want to be here. Purposely not. If I'm,
I wouldn't interpret it the same way, but I just.
if in this age, I.
think you did with the.
It's almost like I put my stuff down here.
And then engaged is like, I'm gonna reach out to you. And then
And it's the difference between job and.
That's 15%.
GIS. Yeah, the other thing you guys did is
At the most, you know.
No.
Running until it's.
You don't really
Any capacity.
when I saw.
You come in, your job is to also.
Probably.
There's a lot, right? So where does that, is that? Is that person ever truly engaged? You know what I mean? Today's the day. You want to do lots of burgers. Yeah. Where are the?
Yeah.
So the Burger King people. Went somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I didn't even see McDonald's people. It's all automated now. It's like, excuse McDonald's. Like, here.
That's it.
And I didn't think it would be like the same, but I really throughout that whole, that might have been a more interesting comparison.
Oh, did that?
I think it's gonna bring it back down. So. I think it's learned. This is a certification. Which is basically certification about. It's like how.
Any of you taking a stat course?
Yeah.
How self-determining. The thing is, like, one thing you'll know now, I think is an advantage as you go to work. Everyone's certification based on still one to class. There's not even based on to figure out how to ask the question to get the answer you want. It's like, what you've accomplished. It's worked out really well. To get points for them. So that was one of the main things they looked at was. Saying first meeting. Engineering firms. People that come and want them to build a building. Areas that look at great water. Gray water is drinking water that's. Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit more technical.
So that's what I'm saying, is what practice thing. And then they also. And the incorporation of AI, not just in sort of everyday response. It's the engineering. So utilizing AI.
I could tell that you were loud.
Wait, but what you're saying, there's like a band in this.
You were louder. You had been.
I didn't see that, like, I'm.
Okay. Yeah. Strategy, yes, so like.
Yeah, we were talking like this. Especially is
A lot of times, well, yeah.
That was working to y'all's
I'm wanting to
disadvantage.
build.
It was good. I definitely learned something, and that's what I wanted to do the internship for, was like I said, like, I don't have any kind of work experience, so, like, if I'm doing like an internship.
To.
But my civil engineering, major, I'm like, how am I gonna talk to those people? And that's why I think this really helped me, and it helped.
They also did IoT internet.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent.
Actual sensors and data.
You guys take that.
I think it's.
I'm very excited about it.
No.
You sure?
I haven't looked into it. But that sounds.
I'm telling you guys that I am thankful for both of you that are very helpful in the process. Like, they are very straight up, and sometimes that's something that most people wouldn't do. Like,
But I've ever like searched into it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
IoT.
Yeah, we're
I
not-
want you guys to.
IoT.
I know. Yeah, we
Oh,
can't
okay,
get
dude.
fast feedback. I'm like, yes, well, we don't want
Connectivity.
Like,
And
that was the gym.
We truly want.
Sensors and things like that.
we get the info, obviously, but like really, we want you guys, yeah.
Better than expected.
Story, y'all looked at us and you're just like, oh, they're not being nice, or that was a bit much, but it was truly for the benefit of.
Providing data.
What's the gym
Come do
big?
the presentation, you're like, oh, in presentation skills, but then it showed up at me to talk louder, stop moving her, this was why. Yeah,
Okay, so.
I definitely appreciate that. I'd rather someone be like, me, tell me the truth than like. I'm just saying.
Outside, it's like those bed it's all you can do. It's like solution.
That would
Drop.
give you an indication that somebody else is.
Like, failing.
Would be
That was a good presentation.
Like they,
you know, mitigation of.
yeah, try to survive.
Normally
Most
someone
people just
flip
didn't hit
through.
legs for like 4 months straight.
That was good.
Like me and we're on a boat.
You're on the road.
What,
Right.
team.
And people are saying,
Yeah, I did 10 to 15, so double the room.
So then they also.
yeah,
Weekend, it's like you didn't miss a beat.
it was, and it flowed
It was
well.
honestly, it was so beautiful.
Well, I was
Like,
like, I was kind of like.
it was like literally some Bailey or Texas, like farm and ranch land, like.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Yeah.
It took me
So-
They were.
They was, were the most data responses and the longest presentation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because that was, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means y'all had people engaged.
They did great,
And
yeah.
one of the guys who was at.
I mean,
he's in HR.
He's in HR.
Yeah.
The questions he was asking, he's taken it to heart.
It's kind of like, probably won't be
Who
something for your
knows,
team.
could
I mean, there's,
potentially
there's
implement
a lot.
something that he heard.
They come together as a team.
That's like, I would.
We're not always together.
I really liked
Together.
the, student loan payback. Like, I will take that.
I wanted to travel, I was
It
like.
was 70's texting me from the back and she's like, $2,000. Yeah, really.
And make sure orders.
Yeah, the text messages flying between the people online and in the room on like which ones they wanted were like pretty significant. I mean, we're in the wrong industry. I got it.
Change the dynamic.
Yeah,
Like if you have the leader, you're like someone completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially when you're like a team like
Also,
a short period of time.
that I thought was really
And that's hard. I mean, I
such
think
a
the purpose of the team lead is just.
educated to say was that it showed the difference in personality, not necessarily
The feedback.
And,
Hey,
which team is
right.
so cool,
It was-
probably
Yeah,
rotated.
it was,
My-
you may, like, your point, like, I'd rather you just tell me straight up, like,
What's
you
going
be,
on,
than like,
I feel like
you know, beat around the bush and you write me an email. and
Yeah.
be formal about it. Like,
It's-
and
so we
that's
had
that
six.
personality.
Oh, yeah, because I saw that there were like too
We-
many
we-
different
we-
answers.
we-
They're like all
but-
at the top.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that was really cool about your survey too, like you asked questions, you asked a little bit different. You almost got, where you use other people's data and you got
Try, they
different
can start.
kind of things that made you think more about that
Draws
data.
out, then you left with a good number, right? So
I like the scenarios too, that you probably gave a lot of people.
two or three people
Yeah.
doing all
That
the
was
work.
cool, guys. That was really cool. Definitely. So we would like to, I know y'all have
I'm definitely invested.
coming up, but, look
Working,
at.
I didn't think it was as much work as it
We
was.
love to see you actually had fun. Everybody always great, so just like decompress.
Yeah.
At some point, I don't know what schedules look like.
When did
Finals. I think it's 16, the 15th.
Are y'all leaving after that or
Um,
gone?
I'm going for like the weekend, that weekend.
Oh, well, yeah, weekend.
So y'all all graduating this?
I am.
You are?
I'm done.
Graduating from Dallas College?
Dallas College.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
from the associates.
okay,
Explain.
yeah. Yeah, that's, what high school do you go to?
The Brookhaven one, the one right there, like in my campus.
Okay, okay. Hmm. Gotcha.
I have my associates, but I'm just taking my time. Everyone's like, accelerate the process, like.
No, yeah, I would definitely
No.
say like at your own pace, because like for me, I know at the beginning, like have never gone to college and my sister went to college, but she didn't really help me out because she was doing her own thing. So like I definitely failed like 2 classes because I didn't know like how to schedule them and stuff like that. And then now that I did things on my own, like I had to, because you know how they say like your counselor's supposed to help you,
Mhm.
like they kind of mess you up. And so I had to learn how to like schedule myself.
Manage your time.
Yeah, so that's how.
How long have you been at Brookhaven? For 4 years
Oh,
or?
yeah, my freshman grade school.
Wow,
I didn't know they did that.
yeah.
I've been taking classes like since. So I like know the campus a lot. For the Dallas Promise, yeah. So like UNC is like those ones, yeah.
For where?
For like it's Arlington, UNC,
UTA.
UTE, UTA.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that because
awesome.
you did the early college high school?
Yeah, they give you credits for the schools for the last thing.
Yeah, so you'll start out like
Junior.
just getting your major.
It's crazy.
I was like, I wish I did that, but they really, like, I think they did that more recently, no?
It's really recent.
That's why.
I never-
Yeah, college will be great. It'll be a breeze.
It'll be amazing.
It's also for parents,
Money.
Oh, yeah, we
Dallas
have a bunch of.
the Dallas Promise. So if you have a student in the Dallas Promise, you as a parent can go and take classes.
Wait,
I did
what's
that.
the Dallas Promise?
So Dallas Promise is just a collective name of a program that provides financial assistance. One thing is financial assistance, but the other thing is connectivity with 4 years. So once they finish with associates, they can move on to.
Oh, so if you're a parent, you can automatically.
So if your child is in Dallas Promise, and all DISD schools have Dallas Promise. I mean, they can go into the Dallas Promise. They don't necessarily do it like you're doing dual credit, but like if you finish high school, you could go to Dallas College and do college credit there, and then go.
So you just go to Brookhaven, you're not in the ISD.
Technically, are you in Farmers Branch ISD?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what ISD within. Well, it applies to the county.
Okay,
So whatever ISDs and actually Farmers Branch might, I don't know if part of it is in Dallas County and part of it is outside of Dallas. It's maybe split between, so it depends on what your high school is.
the TV.
Yeah. It's a great program. Yeah, I don't know.